I'm Dr. Victor Andre Phillips from Trinidad and Tobago. And I am here with this very first episode of a new series, Uplift 66. How did I get here? I had a most tragic experience in October of the last year when I lost my only daughter, 43-year-old Akeisha Phillips, to an illness. She died suddenly in Toronto, Canada. I never knew agony until I experienced the loss of my daughter. And I went down a road. I was trying to come out of a very low place. Untimely passing is a worse form of grief, and especially when it's one of your children. But I found some resources and started climbing out. I am not fully delivered yet, but I have had the inspiration to speak to the bereaved community in Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide. And so I gathered the resources of good colleagues from Trinidad and Tobago who have helped me to put this show together. Uplift 66. The point about 66 is I actually had this loss on the eve of my 66th birthday. But in my search, where I was hanging out in Lamentations for most of the first month, I came to recognize that there are uplifting verses in that book, Lamentations, and subsequently upliftment is found in every book of the Bible. So there are 66 books. And over the course of the next couple months, we will explore what is happening and how these things touch our lives, we who are bereaved in one way or the other. And there would be an input from my very good colleague, Dr. Andy Ansola, a thanatologist. That is a man who is masterful in treating with grief and trauma. He's based in Florida, and his organization, Hearts Flow International, is a collaborative partner with this program. Now, the other aspects that I want to highlight pertaining to this show is the core verse that ministered to me, John 10:10. John 10:10 speaks about, I have come. Who is that come? The Lord Christ is come. That we can have life and have it more abundantly. So the abundant life comes through Christ. And so that reflects the focus on this program, but we call it upliftment. It is social, cultural, economic, and of course spiritual upliftment, which is the overarching focus. I have to say, as well as the program would have other segments. These segments will include the Joseph Forum, a program or component where businessmen will come and testify of the goodness of God in their businesses, whether they are coming out of struggle, showing their ability to survive, as well as to grow and strengthen their businesses. The other segment, major segment, is Unsung Heroes of Faith, and that is treating with persons who are, of course, doing very, very well or have touched the soil. They are living, or persons who have passed already, that need to be, their lives need to be reflected in a program like this. When I come back after the break, we will be speaking with our guest, Dr. Andy and Sula. So we are back with the second segment of Uplift 66. We are still dealing with Victor's Nuggets, and I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Andy Ansula out of Florida. He is a grief and trauma specialist, known as a technologist in that industry. And Dr. Ansola is going to speak to us for a few minutes. Dr. Ansola, welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Glad to be a part of this uplifting movement.
Yeah. So it is important for me to just get this across to you. In our earlier segment, we were talking about the grief and the chapters in scripture that I have already been through to look at ways to come out of the valley, because you yourself know that people who are in grief see themselves being in a valley and therefore not able to get to the hilltop. Could you just tell us a little bit about your own assessment of how many stages of grief people will go through?
Well, the standard is five stages. It's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. They are not linear. You can be in one and out of one at any time. But the goal is to get to acceptance. That's the goal of it. And this was developed by Dr. Kubler-Ross many years ago. God bless her soul.
And when you look at the stage 4, which you say is denial, how do we have deny? Anger is depression, but this is stage 4. If it's not linear, why depression is so close to acceptance?
Well, I think it just has, I think there was no particular reason. It was just labeled like that because depression can hit from the top, right? So remember, I said you can fluctuate between them. But
Right.
I think it was just a matter of how it was laid out. But I don't think it was intentional because some people, like with anticipatory grief, they know the person was going to die and they can deal with it from a better level. Now the pain is still relevant, but at least there was notice of this was about to happen. So that's the difference.
Now, another current conversation is about how the male grieves and how the female grieves. Are there differences in the way men and women grieve a loss?
Oh, definitely, definitely. So I did a conference in 2000, 2000, somewhere there, with a guy by the name of Thomas Golden, and the book is called Swallowed by a Snake, and he speaks specifically about that. Men and women grieve differently. Men like to build and do stuff, do programs like yourself. Women like to litigate and do this, and so they do it differently to us. We just wanted to be active, to be doing something to deal with it. That's the norm. With the women, it's like, let's sue this one, sue that one. Is this one for that one for? So that's how women deal with it.
Okay. Similarly, we have a conversation that is often raised about the deaths that would be sudden and persons who died after ailing a long time. Is there a difference in how people respond to untimely death compared with the regular? Is there a distinction you could make for the kind of counseling you would put in for persons depending on the type of loss, the circumstances of the loss?
Well, when I get a patient is referred to me, I do like a spiritual anatomy for starters, and then I break down as to like what's their experiences they've had in the past, how have they dealt with it, what's going on. So like the anticipatory grief, that's, I don't want to say easy, but it's not as complicated. The one that you are talking about, they call that's complicated grief. That's what I did my dissertation on, right? On complicated grief and how it affects, especially for people with substance abuse and mental health issues. So there are some thin lines, and there's no specific length of time to grieve. Some people can grieve in months, some people can take years.
Could you just share with me one or two coping strategies that you feel persons from either type of grief situation, anticipatory or untimely, would benefit from or should benefit from?
Well, there's one that recently, I don't want to say recent, well, 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, it came up with the where you can do schedule your grief, where you schedule a time to grieve, where you can take a time and say, okay, from 9 to 10, I will grieve, and then after 10 o'clock, that's it. So from 9 to 10, you can bawl and scream your eyes out, all right? Say whatever's on your mind, and then you turn to go back to your normal day. And you have to have a discipline with that. I have seen it work in many cases with complicated grief. Uh, there's also journaling, which is very expressive. You get to put down what you feel. You get to share that with yourself. And if you're working with a professional, then you share in your journal what you are experiencing, so that's another one. Um, then I would actually ask people what did they do before they bereaved, what did they do for fun? And if they did not do anything, then I would try to guide them into do something that is fun, whatever that may be. If it's just walking, talking, going to a movie or whatever that is.
All right. Well, I think that is all we will be able to cover now. So I want to thank you so much, and of course, eagerly look forward to continuing with other sessions in the days ahead. So thank you for being on the program. We are very grateful for the collaborative partnership with Heartflow Incorporated. Thank you so much
Yes, sir.
for putting your resources at our disposal at this time. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
As we get ready to wrap up basically this episode, it's important for me to say that you do not have to stay in the valley. I am not prepared to stay in the valley, I'm coming out. But there are some scriptures that can help us. And one of the things that I had noted in Lamentations is that the fact is you can have grief. The Lord allows grief, but He also provides compassion.